Okay guys, hopefully your test or quiz went well. And over the next couple minutes, what I want to do is I just want to talk about a couple concepts with you. We've been dealing with radicals and rational exponents, and we can solve equations that contain them. And we're going to see this multiple different ways, but the first way that we're going to see this is just with like a simple radical 1, and trying to solve that. So in this case, number 1, we have 8 equals the square root of n minus 8. And what I want to do is I want to find out what n equals that makes this equation true. Now I know we could play the game of guess and check and find it, but there is a way for us to solve this. So the first thing that we want to do is we want to isolate the root or expression with rational exponent. So in this case, this is my root. This is already isolated, so I don't have to do that. So step 1 is done. The second step is to get rid of the radical or rational exponent. So because this is the square root, squares and square roots undo each other. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to square both sides to get rid of the radical sign. And I end up with n minus 8. And in this case, it's going to equal 64. Now we're going to solve for the variable. So we're just going to add 8 to both sides. So I get n to equal 72. Not too bad. So let's look at something a little bit more complicated. So in this case, we want to isolate the root or rational exponent. So I want to get this by itself. So this is being multiplied. So in order to get rid of multiplication, we're going to divide. So I'm going to divide both sides by -3. So that leaves me with -3 minus 4n equals +3. So now I have the root by itself, so I want to get rid of it. To get rid of square roots, I square both sides. So I get +9, and then I got -3 minus 4n. I'm going to add 3 to both sides, and I end up with -4n equals 12. If I divide both sides by -3, I get n to equal -4. Not too bad. Let's get another one. So in this case, we're trying to still get the root by itself. I can add 3. So I have the square root of 2 minus n equals 2. So that first step is done. Now we want to get rid of the radical or rational exponent. So I'm going to square both sides. I end up with 4. So I have 2 minus n equals 4. I'm going to subtract 2 from both sides, so I get -n equals +2. I'm going to divide both sides by -1, and I end up getting n to equal -2. Not too bad. So let's do it something a little bit more complicated, like this expression right here. Here's the square root, and I want to get it by itself. So we're going to add 9 to both sides. So I end up with 98. So I have 2 times the square root of x plus 3. We always want to think about solving an equation to reverse PEMDAS, so we want to get rid of addition and subtraction first before we get rid of multiplication or division. So we're going to divide both sides by 2. And I get x plus 3 equals equals 49. Now we're going to square both sides. So I'm going to take 49 to the second power, and I get 2401 equals x plus 3. And then just subtract 3 from both sides. So I get x to equal 2398. Okay? I'm going to ask you guys to try to 3 at the bottom, and in the next video I will show you guys the answer to those.